very common to think that getting started with content creation is going to be really expensive, but it really doesn't have to be. So of course, expensive means different things to different people. But tonight I'm going to be focusing on getting the best audio quality as well as video quality for the least amount of money possible, so that anyone can get started. Granted, if you want to go for just zero money, then just grab your phone and start recording. Worry about everything else later, but it's kind of hard to get looking good without spending at least a little bit of money. So this setup is not what we're going to be running with. This usual setup is not the most expensive thing in the world, but it's definitely not cheap either. It's pretty mid-tier. But now let's switch over to the budget setup and then let's break it down. Okay? So here we are with the budget setup. Not bad, right? I mean, you could get this whole thing started, set up for about $90. Kinda. There's definitely a couple of changes that I would recommend if you can, dish out some more money for it. Mainly one being the microphone. Right now I'm using the Boya by M1 Lav microphone, which it will get the job done, but you can hear that it doesn't sound great. A couple of good options in the budget range are, for example, the Razer Mini or a bunch of the Fifine USB dynamic mics. But the problem with those are you're gonna have to have them in shot. If you're fine with that, that's all good. If you're not, well, then it doesn't work for you. Also, the transportability of those is quite limited, since you have to be by your PC setup. Of course, optionally, you could go for something like the Rode Video Micro or one of those little microphones that you can just plug into your phone and use that. As a side note, for another, bear with me, $170, you could get something that sounds like this. So this is my usual microphone setup with the Samsung CO2 pencil microphone paired with the Behringer UMC 202 HD audio interface. That's connected to my PC. And just a long XLR cable. I know it's more than double the original price of the setup, but the point is that this will grow with you wherever you upgrade to next. So, it's more of a long-term investment. But coming back to the lighting setup, what I have for lighting are just these two random cheapo LED panels off of Amazon. Now, just by themselves, they're extremely harsh and they don't look good, but pair them with like a $10 umbrella diffuser and you got nice soft light. It's not the most bright light in the world, but that doesn't really matter because of the camera that we're using. My setup is pointlessly complex, so the lighting stand you can just get from Amazon for like $5 to $10 to $15 maybe, but I didn't include that in the price estimate. And the super clamps and the friction arms, those are pointlessly, they make this setup much easier, but they're not needed. You can easily jerry-rig something together to keep them on a stand. But just that pair of lights set me back like $30. The diffuser, another $10. If you want to go for a lighting stand, that's another $10. So getting good looking lighting for cheap. Not great looking lighting, but it gets the job done. For the big thing then, the camera. I hate saying that this is $0. I hate those videos that say that using your $1,500 iPhone 15 Pro Max is a $0 camera. While that is maybe true for that person, I don't feel like that's a really good representation of the actual situation. So even though I'm using a Pixel 6 here, so it cost me $0 to do this, my point is to use the phone that you have. Almost any phone from like $200 and up has some sort of 4K recording capability. The camera's not going to be the best looking thing in the world, but it's the cheapest one and it's the one that you have. So it's definitely good enough to get started. And these days, even with the budget tier phones, the video looks decent at least. It's much smarter to go with your smartphone than possibly buying like a really cheap camera. But that depends. It's not a straightforward comparison. But for background lighting, that is actually included in the price estimate, because these two lights that I'm using, I've talked about these before, and it's just random RGB floodlights from Amazon. The pair of them cost me $30. And these days you can't even get these, I believe, because when I tried to look for them, all I found was basically better lights for the same price. I have to use those with one of these terrible remotes, but the ones that you can find now for that price are brighter and they have Bluetooth connectivity. So it's a no-brainer. You don't need pavo tubes, you don't need any sort of tube lighting. I have one small tube light on that desk under that monitor to give some additional blue light, but you don't need that. You can just use those to position them in a smarter way. I just couldn't be bothered. And you have great looking background lighting for really cheap. And it's going to be even brighter because your light source, your main light source, isn't that bright. In regards to where to upgrade from here, well, basically the first thing that I would upgrade is the microphone. This microphone is $20 and I'm hesitant to tell anyone to get this. Sure, it gives you the ability to get move anywhere and the volume doesn't change. So whether I'm standing here or here or here or here, it all sounds the same because it's a lav microphone. It goes with you. But paying $20 for this when you can get something better for like 50, 60, 70 bucks, I would say it's definitely worth it. So rather than buy this, just save up a little bit longer and then just get a better microphone to start with. But after the microphone, I would say that the next one is, unfortunately, gonna be the camera. So getting a dedicated camera for video shooting is gonna get you better video quality. So if you take something like the Pixel 6 or the iPhone 15 Pro, getting something like a Sony ZV-E10 or a Canon R50 and pair that with like a good lens for around $1,000 is going to get you much better video quality, much better video performance for any sort of stuff that you're going to be shooting. But do remember that it is going to be completely fine for it to take a while until you can upgrade to that professional camera, because it's not going to be, the phone quality is still good and it's going to be good enough until you're able to upgrade. So it's okay, save a while. And there are a lot of creators that make do, have gotten popular even if their camera quality is terrible. In terms of upgrading the lighting, the simplest solution is to just get any of the softbox sets from Amazon. Personally, I would steer away from the ones with a bulb, but they work, so they're fine. It's a personal preference, I would say. But basically any of those setups is going to be a massive improvement over this, but you just can't beat this for the price. Especially if you're starting out on a budget and you're trying to be, trying to get away with the least amount of money possible. What do you think about the budget setup? Not bad, right? And it really didn't cost that much. I try to keep it as small as possible, but of course, there are always limitations. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've got any budget creator tips, also put those in the comments below. And if you've got none of those, just say hi, because, you know, engagement is very important and helpful. So, thanks. All of the stuff that I did talk about are going to be linked in the description below. Those are going to be Amazon affiliate links, so using them will support the channel and everything that I do. But feel free to not use them if you don't want to. Anyway, have a great rest of your week, everyone, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.